Oh yeah! We just got the other sky characters from the Bridge of Eldin, the Kakariko Gorge, and south of Faron. So now continuing our trek, to get the remaining ones, we're going to teleport over to the portion of Hyrule Field that is just next to Castletown. Since we now have the Horse Call, you want to go ahead and use it to summon Epona, which will come in handy here in just a moment. You want to go to the south area where there is that theater ruins, and you want to turn Epona around so that we can hop back on after a moment. Then you want to hop down and kill the Club Boblins so that we don't have to worry about them. You'll see there's an owl statue that is here atop one of the platforms. So you want to use the Dominion Rod to take control of it and walk it off the platform. In order to reach the platform itself, we're going to have to place the statue between it and the outer platform. It may take a few tries to get it centered just perfectly, but once you have it, you want to jump across to get the next sky character. Before we leave, there is another chest we can grab that is on the opposite side of this area. You want to take control of the statue again if you like, and then maneuver it through the rubble, and then over to the other side of the ruins. Position it in the center, just like we did here a moment ago, and then jump across to access the big chest that it contains an orange rupee, which is worth 100. At this point, I'm actually pretty full on rupees, but I'm getting it just to show how to do so. That's all we can do here for now, so you want to climb up out of the ruins and jump back on Epona, and ride her all the way over to the Great Bridge of Hylia, where the next mark on our map is located. In this next area, just north of the Great Bridge, you'll see the owl statue is on one of the ledges. You want to pull it down and set it just below the vines, and then use the claw shot to latch onto the vines and drop down with A to land on top of the statue. You want to jump to the ledge and get the next sky character. Like all the other owl statue locations, there is a little secret we can snag here as well. Unfortunately, there are not vines above the other alcove where there's a large chest. What we can do, however, is position the statue where we can jump to it, making like a midpoint where you can jump to the statue and then jump to the next alcove. Alternatively, you could, of course, just use the claw shot to get on top of up to the vines, and then climb up to that higher platform, and then jump down, but that's a little more awkward to try and land on the statue that way. It's easier by far to just jump straight across like this. And as you can see here, I apparently had it a little too much at an angle, so Link was not actually jumping. So once you get it placed correctly, however, you will be able to jump over to the next alcove, where you will find a large chest. You want to go ahead and open it. It contains an orange rupee, which is worth 100. Once again, I don't really need it, I'm simply showing how to get it just because. That's all we had to do in this location, so speak with Binda and warp on over to the Gerudo Mesa, where the final owl statue is located. Now, you may have looked at this area suspiciously before we were here in the desert, but now that we have the Dominion Rod, we can finally access this puzzle. You want to pull down the statue and then place it between these two platforms, and then you want to go ahead and climb up onto this platform over here that is the only one that has the shorter blocks. You want to jump across to get the next sky character. Now there's a chest that is up on one of these upper platforms as well, however, there's going to be a process in order to gain access to it. And the design of these platforms are incredibly obvious, practically handing you the solution to this puzzle. I think it's really cool, and I think these random puzzles like this are just awesome for little prizes, although I think it would be more appropriate for, you know, dungeons and such. I think the Dominion Rod in particular, like, they didn't really take full advantage of everything they could possibly do in this game, and I think they could have made a lot more cooler puzzles if they had really spent the time to make just a lot more different types of statues and such. I think the Dominion Rod is a really sweet item, and it could have been a lot more awesome as well. It's just not really used enough, in my opinion. When you finally get to the end, you'll find that there's a large chest which you can open to get an orange rupee, which is worth 100. That's all we needed to do here. That's also all of the Sky characters. Now, before returning to Shad, however, I'm going to go to Castletown, where I will meet up with the Golden Wolf and get the last of the hidden skills in the game. As you are crossing the bridge into Castletown, you will have another encounter with the postman. This time he is bearing a letter from Shad. Turns out that he tried out the mystical word of the Skybook on the other owl statues, but nothing happened, and he's even more depressed now than he was before, so he has returned to the sanctuary to continue trying to unravel the mysteries of the statues. This whole quest makes me feel bad for that guy, you know, more so than the others of the resistance group, since he's actually, you know, doing something. Or rather, just that, you know, he's doing all this stuff and he has no idea that he actually is helping a lot, but he has no idea of that, and he just feels like he's a failure. Makes me feel bad for the guy. So once you're done checking out the letter, you want to go ahead and continue on into Castletown and go through the gates to the north, which will lead to the entrance of Hyrule Castle itself. As you approach the Golden Wolf, he will growl at you, as usual, and will then attack Link. So you will then awaken in this misty world one final time, since this is the last of the hidden skills. If you're missing any of the other ones, feel free to check out our website at zeldadungeon.net, and you can go to our Howling Stone guide, which will show you all of the Howling Stone and Golden Wolf locations, so that you can find all the ones you may be missing. As usual, the Golden Wolf will howl, taking on his undead soldier thing form, and making sure we agree to the terms and conditions of learning the next skill. After clicking I agree, we will then have to show him the last hidden skill we learned, the Jump Strike. Want to Z-target him and press and hold the A button, and then release it to show him pain. If you were successful in giving him a headache, he will then grant you the 7th and final hidden skill in the game, the Great Spin. This is actually a returning move from several other Zelda titles, but it's slightly different this time around due to the controls. How it works is that when your life is full, your spin attack will have wider range, as well as do even more damage to enemies. It's a great opener for swordplay, and will even kill a lot of the weaker enemies in a single hit. This mechanic is very similar to the Beam Blade from previous 2D Zelda titles, in which you shot beam blades out of your sword when you were full health. And if you can manage to keep your life full, you can now mow down your opponents like crazy, and it's particularly useful for the upcoming Cave 4 deals. Congratulations, you now have all of the hidden skills in the game, and with that, the Hero Shade will then mention that he has now passed down all of his knowledge, and he can finally rest peacefully. He makes an interesting comment at the end, calling Link his son. This may just be a teacher-student comment, or he could literally mean that, since earlier on he mentioned that these techniques were only possible for the people that were in the bloodline, meaning that the Hero Shade is an ancestor of Link. With that, we will then appear back outside of the entrance to Hyrule Castle, so you want to warp on over to Kakariko Village, and join me for the next video, where we will meet up with Shad.
What do you think, Lilith?